Long before maps had borders and clocks had numbers, the world was held together by a quiet, invisible thread called the Accord. No one could see it, yet everyone lived by it. The Accord was not written in any book, nor spoken aloud in any language. It existed in the space between actions and consequences, in the unspoken understanding that balance must be kept. When a river flooded, it receded. When a forest burned, new growth followed. When one life ended, another began. People did not question it. They simply knew. In those ancient days, humanity did not rule the world. It participated in it. But as centuries passed, something changed. It began with a man named Elion, a thinker who refused to accept that unseen forces governed reality. He believed that if something existed, it must be proven, measured, and ultimately controlled. The idea of the Accord unsettled him, not because it was harmful, but because it could not be owned. So Elion set out to break it. He gathered others who shared his vision, and together they built instruments to measure the world. They tracked the tides, mapped the stars, and calculated the growth of crops. Slowly, the mysteries of the world began to shrink under their scrutiny. And something else began to shrink too. The first sign was subtle. A valley that had always recovered from drought suddenly did not. Its soil hardened, its rivers thinned, and its people, once resilient, began to suffer. The scholars dismissed it as coincidence. They adjusted their measurements, refined their tools, and pressed forward. But the imbalance spread. Storms grew harsher, winters longer, summers unbearable. Creatures migrated in confusion, and harvests became unpredictable. The world, once self-correcting, seemed to falter, as if something essential had been disrupted. Still, Elion refused to believe in the Accord. To him, the chaos was simply a problem waiting to be solved. So he went further. He proposed a new system, one where humanity would impose order directly upon the world. Rivers would be redirected, climates manipulated, and life itself engineered to fit human needs. The idea was bold, terrifying, and to many irresistible. For a time, it worked. Cities flourished, food became abundant, diseases were controlled, humanity rose to heights it had never imagined. And as it did, the memory of the Accord faded into myth, a story told by elders and ignored by the young. Until the day the thread snapped. No one knew exactly when it happened, but everyone felt it. It began with silence. Birdsong vanished from the skies. The wind, once carrying whispers through trees, fell still. Even the oceans seemed to pause, their waves slower, heavier, as though burdened. Then came the unraveling. Systems that had been carefully controlled began to fail all at once. Crops engineered for perfection withered overnight. Weather machines malfunctioned, creating storms that fed on themselves. Cities, dependent on precise balances, collapsed into chaos. Humanity, for all its knowledge, could not fix it. Elion, now old and weary, watched as the world he had tried to master slipped beyond his understanding. In his final days, he returned to the valley where the imbalance had first appeared. It was barren. Kneeling on the cracked earth, he whispered, not to a god, not to a force he could name, but to the silence itself. I was wrong. Nothing answered him, but something shifted. A single drop of rain fell, then another. Over time, slowly, painfully, the world began to heal. Not as it once had, not with the effortless balance of before, but with a fragile, hard-earned equilibrium. Humanity, humbled, relearned what it had forgotten, that control was not the same as harmony. The Accord, it seemed, had never truly disappeared. It had only withdrawn, waiting to be understood again. And so the myth spread, not as a warning alone, but as a truth the entire world came to accept. That there exists a balance beyond human design, that every action echoes further than it seems, and that the moment we believe we stand above the world is the moment we begin to fall out of it.